Welcome to Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. It's the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship as the Texas Longhorns take on the Kansas Jayhawks from the Ford Center in Oklahoma City. Here are the brackets, and here's how they got here. In semifinal action yesterday, Kansas knocked off cross-state rival K-State. Texas won over a determined Oklahoma State team. Today, it's number 1 and number 3 seeds scoring off for the championship. Kevin Durant, the much talked about freshman, and you see the numbers on him that just go on and on to be more impressive.
Well, Ron, he has put together one of the most impressive resumes in the history of college basketball for a freshman, and a prohibitive favorite, in my opinion, as National Player of the Year.
You know, Kansas is an ensemble that is a together unit, but they always seem to come up with one individual. Mario Chalmers is that man again this year, and he's only a sophomore.
You're correct, Ron. Amongst the bevy of McDonald's All-Americans, Mario Chalmers usually picks his spots when the moments are biggest. Remember, a year ago, he was the MVP of the Big 12 tournament.
Well, right now, let's take a look at the Star Watch, brought to you by the folks at American Century.
Just 8 days ago, Kevin Durant and Texas went into Allen Fieldhouse. His 25 in the first half gave him a 12-point lead, but Mario Chalmers brought the Jayhawks back with outstanding defense and clutch offense.
And here are the starting lineups for our championship game this afternoon as you look at Super Mario. For Texas, it'll be Augustine, Abrams, and Mason, a 3-guard set, along with Damian James and Kevin Durant. And the same situation for Kansas. The 3 guards, Russell Robinson, Mario Chalmers, Brandon Rush, Julian Wright, and Sasha Khan, the 2 big men inside. It'll be Khan jumping up against Durant. A veteran group of officials here. Scott Thornley is the referee, working his 8th title game. Curtis Shaw working his 3rd title game. And there is one rookie. John Higgins is the other umpire. It's his 1st title game. So Kansas will go on offense first to start this title game.
Texas will open man, Ron, but you know we'll see some 2-3 zone. Kansas needs to go inside early and batter that front line of the Longhorns.
Friend, what do you look for differently as Mason comes up with a steal from Robinson, puts it up, and the ball is blocked by Rush. Augustine back to Durant, and Durant's going to take it to the hoop. It's blocked by Rush. Julius Wright. And Julian will score the turnaround jumper.
I know what we said yesterday, Ron. Julian Wright does his best work in the painted area. Good example right there.
James strong to the hoop. That one is blocked by Wright. Kept alive, and Mason will score.
If you want to know why Kansas is one of the best defensive teams in the country, they not only have outstanding perimeter defense, but they block 1 shot on every 5 possessions. So far with 3, they're ahead of their game.
Mason and his defense playing with an injured knee, and he tweaked an ankle yesterday. Not the same kind of speed he normally would have as Damian James knocks down the jumper from the left side.
And Rick Barnes isolated him against Sasha Khan. He's shown more confidence in James at the end of the season.
Russell Robinson. Here's Rush. Crossover. Got Mason in the air, but he went inside to Khan. And the 2-pointer.
This is the same start Kansas had last year when Julian Wright was so brilliant in the title game. Kansas's concern right now, Ron, is to not let Abrams and Augustine beat them while they're trying to concentrate on Durant.
What are their plans as far as Durant's concerned, though?
They'll double him post, Ron, but they don't like to double team him away from the basket because that opens up the floor for Augustine's brilliant penetration.
Careless foul right there by Chalmers, a reach in.
Remember, Augustine had 19 points and 13 assists in the last meeting.
Oh, 3-pointer Durant.
And Julian Wright has been in foul trouble early the first 2 ball games of this tournament.
Wright works along the baseline. rush. Back on top, here's Chalmers. Quick gun, in and out, wouldn't go. Durant will rebound for Texas. And at the other end, not looking, Durant threw the long pass, and he had a man there, but it was overthrown. Let's check in with the third member of our broadcast team, Holly Rowe. Holly?
Well, guys, Kevin Durant had a big game just 8 days ago when they played Kansas, 32 points. So Bill Self of Kansas said the thing they have to do is more preventative, do a better job defending Durant before he catches the ball. He also said we can't pay so much attention to him that other guys have unusually large games. The last time DJ Augustine, Abrams, and Damian combined for 49 points, all above their average. So they got to pay better attention to the peripheral guys.
Nice pass. Abrams couldn't get it to go. And Durant, who had a block on Kahn at the other end, got the putback. Chalmers at the other end. Caught him not in good transition way, but Kansas misses it. And it'll be Durant who comes away with it, and he'll bring it up for the Longhorns.
We've also seen Durant affect this game on the defensive end already.
Durant for 3 more. Is this going to be a blueprint of how he started at Lawrence?
25 points in that first half, and Texas shot 11 of 14 from 3 in that first half.
Robinson, the bouncer inside. Julian Wright took his eye over for a high arcing shot, and he knocks it down over Durant that time. 6 points for Wright. Great start. Abrams.
Last night, Ron, in the first half, Texas had 29 possessions with Durant on the floor. He touched it on those possessions.
Crossover, Augustine. Nice job by Robinson. Really putting pressure on him. Drives it to the hoop. And it will not score, but he'll go to the line for a couple.
Kevin Durant has done it a number of different ways already. Offensive glass, and of course, if you give him room from deep, he can burn you. Texas up early, 10-6.
DJ Augustine. The numbers on him. Texas leads at 10-6 at the 15:54 mark. Good look at DJ right there, and his numbers in the championship, and no turnovers.
And don't even worry about the field goal percentage. He had 4 points in the final minute of the Baylor game and was clutch down the stretch yesterday. He is Rick Barnes's Arthur Fiedler. He is a conductor.
Holly Rowe, as he goes to the free throw line. You've got more on DJ.
Well, that's right, as he makes his first. After that 18 at Texas A&M a few weeks ago, Coach Barnes had the team come in and watch some film. He actually challenged DJ Augustine that, look, when you're going to become a truly good point guard is when you're going to talk more and communicate more on the court. DJ heard what he said and took it to heart that very time. He asked Coach Barnes to leave the room. He took over the team and talked to them. He's really trying to establish himself as a leader, and Kevin Durant has actually said he's the best point guard I've ever played with. He's someone I look up to, and he runs this team.
Okay, Holly, a turnover in the interim here as KU came down and the ball was hit by Ashley. Ashley, the only new face, I beg your pardon, Winder, another new face on the floor for the Longhorns. Arthur is in the ball game for KU along with Collins, number 4.
Greg Winder, who only averages 7 minutes a game, has earned his scholarship in this tournament with a clutch performance against Baylor, 4 for 4.
You know, Fran, as much as anything, it appears that his energy has been what has been so effective. Actually falling away, and the shooter's touch there got the.
That's a bonus, Ron, because Kansas has the much deeper bench, especially offensively.
This is a 12-2 run for the Longhorns. They lead it 14-6. Russell Robinson, left-handed dribble, gets it back to Arthur just inside the three-point line and was off just a bit.
I think Rick Barnes does not mind him taking that shot. They have to be concerned about getting pounded inside.
Augustine doing more talking on the floor right now. Durant couldn't get the shot to go, missed the follow.
Winder got
Abrams
that rebound.
for 3, got it. And Bill Self wants a timeout. So we'll step aside for 30 seconds. Texas by 11, 14:26 to play first half. It's early, but Texas on top 17-6. And Fran, there's quite a comparison when you look at last year's championship game and this year's championship game between KU and Texas.
You see the youth of last year's Kansas team, and remember this, Ron, at the end of the year, they went into Austin and got their doors blown off. Last week, Texas squandered a big lead. Let's see if these young Longhorns have gone to school on that bitter defeat.
Collins works against Augustine this time. The bouncer inside to Arthur. Very close in, and an unusual miss on the jump hook from that close by. Texas has hit their last 4 shots, and KU going through a little bit of a cold spell right now.
Kansas was not sure how they were going to play the ball screen early.
Abrams off the mark, tipped up in the air. Durant, and he'll reverse the turn, and from right in front, nail it.
The interesting thing about that play, Ron, he had absolutely no problem elevating over the length of Julian Wright, something Kansas State struggled with yesterday.
Well, Durant has already got double figures, and he's got 4 rebounds to go with it. Foul inside. It's going to be on Connor Atchley for the Texas Longhorns, his first.
Well, take a look at this. You'll see the offensive rebound. He's a great rebounder because of his length. And then watch, Julian Wright's a big guy, and he had no trouble, Durant did, getting a smooth, uncontested look over the length of Julian Wright.
Wright goes to the bench. He's off to a really good start with 6 points, being replaced by...
Jackson's in, Ron.
Jackson has come into the ball game, and a young man playing right here in front of a lot of family from the Oklahoma City area. The bouncer to Durant. Going to reverse the turnaround again, and he got it.
Unbelievable, Ron. Brandon Rush said yesterday, he said, I'd like to play him a little bit. We want to play him again. He's not unstoppable. He will get his 25.
Collins for 3, not there. Good work inside by Jackson, but he lost the basketball. Knocked out of bounds by Winder.
You can't defend this shot any better than Darrell Arthur did. Now watch the contested shot. He gets his hand up. He tries to bother him, and it's like Arthur isn't even there. A good defender should be able to take his shooter out of his rhythm, and it doesn't happen very often with Kevin Durant.
Dexter Pittman checks into the lineup for a few moments. Durant comes to the bench to a standing ovation.
See, Texas will always go zone on the inbounds, 2-3. You go zone underneath because you don't want to give up an easy basket.
Ball was tipped, 2-on-1 as the break. Abrams goes back to Augustine, who is behind the back with the pass. Got a whistle and a foul out here on the floor. And I think the 2 young guards made a good decision there because Kansas does a great job in transition. Let's check in again with Holly Rowe. Holly?
Well, guys, I checked in with Kansas player development coach Danny Manning about how he would guard Kevin Durant and what he has told these young post players for Kansas. He said the biggest thing is you have to make him work for everything on both ends of the floor. If you contest every shot, make every shot just that much harder, by the end of the game, maybe that fatigue sets in, and he doesn't make every shot. Kind of a good point. Try to wear him out if nothing else works.
Holly, it happened yesterday. He had not knocked down a shot for a long time, but he did hit the winner against Oklahoma State. Collins over to Rush. He will jam it home.
First easy basket today for Kansas.
Texas on the move, coming back to Winder. Up the middle. James too short on the shot. Winder knocks it on the floor. Pittman, I think he was out of bounds when he gained possession. So let's take a timeout. Texas 21, Kansas 8, 11:49 to play. Now to look at Kevin Durant, who got a short breather. Pittman came in the ball game replacing him.
It's a lock, Ron. He will be the National Player of the Year. It's gotten to the point in the last 3 weeks where it's not even close.
Durant's got 10 points in the ball game, but one of the things give credit not just to the one individual, but in second chance points, Texas has got 9 and Kansas nothing. It's normally a category that the Jayhawks dominate.
And that's why you see James and Winder in the game right now. They've become the blue-collar guys. First time this year, Texas has gone to the 3-2 with Durant inside. See, usually Durant is at the top of this zone, Ron.
Collins gets penetration, whistle on the floor, and it's going to be against Augustine. Ron Franklin along with Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe. Great to have you along from the Ford Center in Oklahoma City. It is the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship game as number 1 seed Kansas takes on the number 3 seed, the Texas Longhorns.
Gonna watch the lob.
Inside Jackson, and a reach in there and a foul. I think it's going to be on Winder. Well, you know, the largest leads Texas against Kansas just a very few days ago. 16 points the lead, 51-35. Today 15 points, 21-6. But KU came back and won that thing by, what was it, 4 points up in Lawrence.
That's right. Texas went 11 for 14 in the first half from beyond the arc, went 0 for 4 in the second half. One thing missing today, Ron, is that great Allen Fieldhouse home court advantage.
Both teams with 3 team fouls apiece in the early going here.
Let's see how much DJ Augustine can attack that defense off the dribble.
Durant got a play worked for him. And Wright just had no opportunity to even get close to him because the curl was so quick.
Well, Durant's a good, Wright is a very good defender, as was Marcus Dove. But he doesn't get affected by good defense.
Here's Collins. He got the screen. The bouncer inside to Jackson. Back out Chalmers for 3. And it goes up over the top of the glass.
Ron, most players, unless you're absolutely special, is going to be bothered by defense. He just is in his rhythm. It's almost like Wright's not there. He's invisible when he goes up and takes that shot.
You teach a kid that, or does he have it? Is that a 6?
Both. He's been taught this from a very early age.
Kansas in transition, missed by Collins, and a jump ball is called between Winder and Jackson, and the possession error says it'll go back to Texas. And Winder, who spent very little time playing this season, is right in the middle of the action again.
He's a guy that got himself in really good shape this year as a senior. He's a junior college transfer from Baltimore. And I would compare him, Ron, to Royale Ivey, a guy that was a 4-year starter for Rick Barnes and now in the NBA. He just does all the little things, and that's important when you have a team with 3 weapons like Augustine, Abrams, and Durant.
But a good job there by Collins of getting around the screen. Abrams wanted the 3-point shot as they set it up for him. Durant puts it on the floor, gets the shot away, and we'll see if he will go to the line for a couple. ESPN later today for 3 shows dedicated to the men's NCAA Field of 65. First at 5, preview the 65-team bracket on ESPNU Bracketology, presented by Staples. Then at 6 Eastern on SportsCenter, the brackets are laid out as they are made public. And at 7 o'clock Eastern, return to review each bracket on ESPNU Bracketology. Who's in, who's out, who will be the Cinderella teams? Find out Selection Sunday on ESPN later today.
Boy, the committee, as always, has an excruciating job, maybe tougher this year than ever. Ron, I talked to assistant coach Russ Springman of Texas before the game, and I said, was it something orchestrated that Kevin Durant took almost every shot in the first 5 minutes of the game yesterday? He said no. Kevin just felt it was his time to start to take over in a tournament atmosphere like this.
Hard to argue with him, isn't it?
Absolutely, because he doesn't play selfishly.
Got 16 points, and we have just gone under 10 minutes to play in the first half of this one. Jackson tries for the rebound, can't get it, taken down by James. James into the corner, Augustine, and falling away, he puts up a 3 and he buries it. A 2, I beg your pardon, put on the line.
If Augustine makes that jumper and he makes 47% behind the arc, then it really opens up the dribble game for him. This is unbelievable. This is a repeat, deja vu of a year ago.
We'll see how the women's NCAA tournament brackets line up on ESPN and ESPN2 tomorrow night with the NCAA Women's Selection Special. First at 8 Eastern on ESPN, the 64-team field is revealed. Then at 9 on ESPNU, the field will be reviewed bracket by bracket. Who's in, who's out? Is there a Cinderella team this year? The NCAA Women's Selection Special on ESPN and ESPNU tomorrow. Oklahoma with this young lady, Courtney Parrish, won the Big 12 title last night. 23 points, 21 rebounds. She's only a sophomore, folks, and she has dominated and continues to do so.
You look at this conference, I think along with the ACC and the SEC, Big 12, one of the power conferences in women's basketball. There'll be a lot of at-large teams coming out of this field.
If you're Bill Self and the time and the out that you just came from, this is a blueprint of exactly what happened up in Lawrence.
Yes.
But they were patient. They got a run going, got a second run going. What do you tell your club?
Here's the problem, Ron. They got their run going at the very beginning of the second half of that game. A couple turnovers by Texas, and the crowd took over. That's not going to be the same today in a sterile, neutral site atmosphere. They've got to figure out a way to get the ball out of Kevin Durant's hands as much as possible.
Arthur comes up with a screen, gets it back, and on the run, ball tipped around, going to go on the floor, taken away by Collins of KU. Travel called against Collins.
See, now when you're down like this, you try to speed up, and there's no such thing as a 10-point play. You still have to grind. Kansas is a good grinding team, possession by possession, but you got to guard this guy.
Durant.
Ron, send them the trophies now. Wooden, Naismith, it doesn't matter. This is one of the great performances of a freshman in the history of college basketball this season.
19 points for Durant, and everybody thought the 25 was totally outlandish up at Lawrence.
See, you can't let him even catch the ball. Now, he's at the NBA line, but you got to try to deny him. Look how open he is. Now, as Kansas guards coming up the floor, you should find him immediately and limit as many touches as possible.
Durant gets a breather. Ashley will check in the ball game, replacing him. 30-10, Texas. We've just gone under 8.5 minutes to play. Rush gets it over to Arthur. Away blocked by Ashley. And Arthur on the follow, not there. James rebound.
What a great job James is doing on the defensive glass, Ron.
Augustine takes it all the way to the hoop and score. I don't know how he got through there.
Well, I've said this before. If he stays through, he's got a chance to compete. National Player of the Year. He's so much like Jameer Nelson from St. Joe's. They're almost identical in the way they played.
Russell Robinson. Rush gets the screen from Kahn, moves to his left and swishes a three.
This is where Brandon Rush has got to be more aggressive.
Connor Ashley stepped across the line, and it's going to be a turnover. It'll be KU basketball. So we'll take a break. Texas 32, Kansas 13. We'll be right back. Well, it's 32-13, Texas on top. KU held to just 2 field goals the last 8 minutes of play. And let's go to Holly Rowe, who has a special guest. Holly?
Well, I'm with Kevin Durant's mom, Wanda Pratt, grandma and dad here as well. Wanda, what were some of the things that Kevin did as a little boy that are making him so successful now?
Well, Kevin would practice with his coach, Coach Brown, extensively, sometimes 2 and 3 hours after school. And in the summers, he would practice 6 to 8 hours, and sometimes my mom would have to take him dinner down to the rec. And he would even take naps there.
Well, when he started out this year, what were your expectations for his first year at Texas?
My expectations were for him to mature as a young man and to harness his basketball skills, in which he has done.
How has he met or exceeded those?
Well, he's just Kevin to me. Everyone tells me that he's doing very well, and I'm really excited about the things that he's done.
How has your life changed as a family because of all the activity and notoriety he's gotten this year and attention?
We've gotten a lot of attention from nice people like yourself. other than that, it's been really normal.
Well, yesterday you had a guy sitting next to you that was a GM for the Boston Celtics, Danny Ainge. What do you think his pro potential looks like?
Well, I don't know. We just have to talk to the coaching staff at the end of the season, and then we'll make a decision. And really, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I didn't know who he was. So when I saw it on ESPN, I was really shocked.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, and congratulations on a fun year for your boy.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, Holly, thanks very much. Nice visit with Kevin Durant's mom there. Rush takes it along the baseline, blocked by, guess who, Durant.
Don't forget, Ron, he was on the all-defensive team in the Big 12 this year as well. Blocks and steals. He's got that condor-like wingspan that helps him on both ends.
Works against Kahn, steps forward, and the foul is going to go against Robinson, his first.
Ron, I made this point in the last couple of broadcasts. He is the urban Tiger Woods. Mrs. Pratt and her husband have put Kevin around people from an early age that have trained him to play the game right. He's had great AAU coaches and great high school coaches.
Knocked out of bounds by Texas. It'll go back to KU. You know, we talked about during the Texas A&M game when AC Law went up and shot a jump shot late in the ball game after he had continued to just wax the Longhorns, send it into overtime, a second overtime. This crowd just did the same thing, the KU crowd, when Durant shot. It just went silent in here about, is he going to do it again? And he missed. Chalmers.
So you've got two scorers out there, Chalmers and Rush. They both need to stay aggressive. There's plenty of time in this game, but they need to do it on the defensive end with stops first.
Reach in by Arthur.
And it'll be interesting to see if fatigue becomes a factor for Durant. Now, he played 77 of 80 minutes the first two games, and Rick Barnes now got him in and out very quickly.
17 fouls against the Jayhawks. The first foul on Arthur.
See, I always said with my players, when you're guarding a guy like Durant, do your work early. Never get caught behind and never get caught in a position where you can't keep him from catching the ball. That time Arthur was behind him and allowed him to pick up the foul.
So Durant misses the second. Chalmers back along the baseline, and jamming it home is Wright.
Nice pick and roll, and the defender to help that was supposed to come out was sealed.
KU crowd trying to bring this ball club to life. Augustine, that's an air ball, and it is KU basketball.
Well, you see the numbers and the monster season he's had. He's obliterated many Big 12 records.
Texas, as we mentioned, had the huge lead at Lawrence, and the Jayhawks came back. That happened in the second half, as Fran said. Right now, we got 5 minutes left to play in the first half.
You've got 25 minutes left. Kansas can hang 70 on you in that period of time if they get it going.
Right, the spin move got by Durant and scored the two.
That's where Julian Wright does his work. Just buy some real estate down low.
Lead is cut to 14.
That last Texas possession, DJ Augustine was rattled and took a bad shot.
Abrams for three. In and out. Right rebound. They got Robinson on the fly. Couldn't get the ball to him. Second foul on Augustine.
Watch how crafty Julian Wright is. He's perfected this little up and under move. Now he's going to utilize Durant's ability to block shots to get him up in the air. Durant does a good job of staying down, but he slips through underneath. And that's where Julian Wright is at his best, as a power forward in college versus the pro potential of being a small forward someday.
Brand, it also would appear that, again, right now, Bill Self in Kansas want to get it up to 65 or 70 miles an hour. Texas wants to slow it down and be a little bit more deliberate.
Oh, I think you're right, Ron. And don't forget, depth is a factor, too.
Inside to right. Back to Rush for three. He got it.
Texas coaches were worried about Julian Wright in the middle of the zone because he can play point guard from the paint area.
Take a look at that last basket.
This was the one concern Texas had about playing 2-3 zone. You see Wright, the inside-out pass, and that's where he's most effective, and they've made Texas pay. Rick Barnes has got to think about that a little bit now.
Individual scoring as far as Kansas is concerned. Wright with 10, 8 for Rush, 4 for Chalmers, 2 for Jackson. 22 points for Kevin Durant, 6 for Augustine, and 3 for Abrams. And that was the second foul that Augustine has picked up this afternoon just a moment ago.
Well, you see those numbers. Remember, Kansas was down 12 at the half. Texas was on fire from deep. Kevin Durant had 25. Second half, it all changed, and it changed primarily on the defensive end.
Abrams walks it up this time. As Augustine gets a breather.
Now he's getting a breather because of the 2 fouls.
Steps inside, the ball blocked by Wright, but he got it back out to Abrams. Mason will take it to the hoop, and the finger roll goes down. Much akin to a play that he beat Arkansas on back down in Austin. And that was what, December?
December. I was thinking exactly the same thing, Ron.
Robinson, 3-point off the mark. It's Abrams on the rebound.
Now you got, whoop.
Mason not there. The ball tipped around and out of bounds. I think they're going to change this call. They're saying it's Texas basketball, but I think it is KU, yes. So we'll take a timeout. 3:22 left in this opening half. Texas 37-24 over KU. As we get a review of our Star Watch, Kevin Durant 22 points, 10 points for Wright. Chris Paul, yeah.
He's always here, Ron. If they're hit, he's at every game. He's been in Norman this year. We saw him at the Pittsburgh Oklahoma State game at the All College. Interesting thing about Augustine, Ron, he's got 215 assists this year. That's 4 times more anybody else on this Texas team. They do not really have a backup point guard. A.J. Abrams much more of a 2 guard.
Right, crossover dribble, nice move, couldn't get it, tip inside, and it goes back up over the glass. And let's check it again with Holly Rowe.
Bill Self just told his Jayhawks in that last huddle to turn up the heat right now. He noticed that DJ Augustine, the true point guard, is out of the game, so they're going to come with more pressure on defense, try to fluster the Longhorns. He looked up at the scoreboard and said, hey, what, we're down 13? Well, it's better than being down 19. He said there's a lot of possessions left, guys. We just need to turn up the heat.
Holly, that's what I was talking about when I said Bill wants this thing to go fast. Texas wants to get it more in a medium tone, so to speak. Collins for 3.
That's critical. He knocked down 2 yesterday, but prior to that, he'd missed 14 in a row. But he still shoots 41% from 3.
So it is his first of the game. Robinson against Abrams. Too hard and really not a good shot.
There's no orchestrator out there right now for the next 2.5 minutes.
Collins for 3, no. And the outlet pass and thrown away by Mason. 3 turnovers against Texas.
How interesting is that? Augustine plays about 35, 36 minutes a game. But with this lead right now, Rick Barnes can't take any chance of him picking up his 3rd foul. Texas, Ron, one of the best in the country at not turning the ball over. Only 17% of their possessions on the year.
That young man right there, DJ Augustine, no turnovers the entire tournament.
You see the 3-2 zone with Durant up top.
Inside right, back over in the corner, gets it to Rush. Right, Collins passes up the three.
Wright is so dangerous in the middle of that zone.
Shot clock is at 5.
Nice set play. They haven't showed that much this year, but they screened for Rush in the corner.
Durant against Rush. Long three. And he stepped out of bounds. Turnover number 4. And Rick Barnes wanted a foul on the call.
Well, the problem right now in Texas is they are a body without a head. No disrespect to A.J. Abrams, who is a great scorer, but DJ Augustine is the leader of this offense.
15-3, the run by KU. Rush inside, right, gets it back to Rush. Three-pointer on the way. Nope. Rush tips the ball and it goes to Ashley of Texas, and a foul on Julian Wright.
They got a couple good looks because the ball went through Julian Wright. Didn't able to knock it down.
That's his second foul, and you know, with 1:05 to play in the first half, you may see him go to the bench. In fact, he is. Arthur is going to check back into the ball game, just like the situation with DJ. Coaches cannot have those people with 3 fouls in the first half.
Watch this guy, Ron. He's missed 2 free throws since December 28th. They almost never, right? They almost never hit the rim.
It's amazing.
Talk about this is like a putter, and this is like a guy having a great putting stroke.
Yesterday, very quietly, had 20 points.
Now, he disappointed me because that one barely grazed the back of the rim. Now they switch to a 2-3 zone.
Collins dishes it off to Arthur for the jam. 7-point game. Under a minute to play in the first half.
You're not supposed to give up that easy a dribble penetration when you go to the zone. That's exactly what Kansas has done.
Durant trying to look where he was going to go before he had secured the basketball, and it's a turnover again against Texas. And again, they're getting in a hurry, allowing Kansas to force the pace.
Watch how hard this pass is. He throws it right off of Durant's chest. Rick Barnes right now is just trying to survive with a lead.
Collins buries a 2. Texas now has had 3 turnovers on the last 4 possessions.
Now you know why people say, as great as Durant is, sometimes the co-MVP of this team is DJ Augustine.
Durant's shot clock is now under 10. Puts it on the floor, pulls up with the jumper too hard. Ashley tries for it and knocked out of bounds by KU with 2 seconds showing on the clock. So Durant missed the last shot, has not scored since the 5:44 mark. And the inbounds pass, Abrams, and the ball was blocked. And we are at halftime. Let's go to Holly Rowe. Holly?
Coach Self, where did that first half start to turn where you started to get back into the big lead?
Well, we finally made some shots. We had some good looks and missed a lot of in-tight shots. And, of course, Durant, once again, was unbelievable. But I think just the law of averages started to prevail. DJ
Augustine was out, and you told your team to turn up the heat without him on the floor. It paid off. How did you take advantage of that?
Well, he's their primary handler. Whenever they want the ball in his hands 90% of the time, so we just tried to get after him pretty good.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, Holly, thanks so much. Kansas, a 17-4 run to end the first half. Welcome back to Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. It's the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship, the Texas Longhorns and the Kansas Jayhawks. And our score at halftime is the Longhorns 39 and the Jayhawks 34. Grant Frischella looking at the first half. We need to go back to the late moments of the first half. And just like in Lawrence, all of a sudden, the Jayhawks turned it 180 degrees.
And a lot of that reason, Ron, was because DJ Augustine picked up 2 fouls with 4 minutes to go. They only had 2 turnovers in the first 16 minutes of the ball game and 3 turnovers down the stretch. Talked about Augustine. Now watch this pass and how it's right on the money. Durant is in rhythm. He goes out of the game. A.J. Abrams, a scorer, not really a point guard. Look where this pass goes and takes Durant away from the rim. You see the pressure. That's a bad place to catch the ball, and then he steps on the end line. One of those 3 turnovers without Augustine.
Well, let's take a look at our Guinness first half stats. And play is underway here in the second half. Texas by 5. It's first. KU rush. Deals it off to Kahn. Ball was partially blocked by James. And now let's take a look at the Guinness first half stats.
Rebounding Texas, that's a big advantage right there, 21-16. They were pounded on the boards up in Lawrence. Second chance points for Texas, 11-3, because of the hustle plays made by guys like Damian James and Craig Winder. One thing we know about Kansas, Ron, early in the half, early in the second half, they will go inside.
Well, Bill Self has got a question about the ball bouncing up, and I assume on possession.
Well, here's what happened. Sasha Khan went up for the dunk on the screen and roll. Let's see now. That ball hit the rim. That's going to be a reset. There it is. Very easy. Probably the easiest decision Curtis Shaw has all season.
In the corner, they get it back to Kahn, back out to Wright.
Remember how good Wright is in the middle of the zone.
Julian Wright works against Durant. That shot is way off the mark. On the floor, taken away by Collins.
Be interesting to see if DJ Augustine maintains his aggressiveness.
Whistle and a foul on the floor. No, they called it turning it over. And nobody had looked up to see. The ball had not touched iron, so the shot clock was running down. 6 turnovers against KU. And let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, I spoke with Rick Barnes at the half and asked him about that 22-point lead that was evaporating. He said, "Are you kidding? I'll take a half like that against Kansas any day." He said, "Actually, I told my guys in the locker room, you play another half like that, we'll win this game."
Okay, Holly. And you know what? The numbers back him up.
You don't see A.J. Abrams driving to the hole, getting in the tall timber very often. That was a sweet move with the left hand, Ron.
Chalmers, the ball tipped by Durant. KU still has it. They give it back to Kahn, tries to jam it, misses. Wright goes back to Chalmers for 3 and can't get it. And boy, oh my, Kahn went down hard as he and James were contesting for the same rebound.
Kahn came flying out of nowhere, made a great effort on the basketball, and they got tangled in midair. You're right, Ron.
James is called for the foul, his first.
Keep your eye on this. This ball bounces around, and they get tangled up. It's an unfortunate foul on Damian James because he was just playing the ball, but it put Kahn at a disadvantage.
Yesterday, watch this scuffle on the floor, and he gets kicked in the face inadvertently by one of the K-State players. You see a Shiner coming on, and just now went down, and he went down right on his back. Wow.
You don't want to make light of a guy coming down that hard, but as an ex-coach and seeing that happen often, usually he comes down on his tailbone and that padding you have down there. In the posterior.
Well, the ball is going to stay with KU. 33 seconds on the shot clock.
I'm going to be interested to see how aggressive DJ Augustine can be on both ends of the floor with those 2 fouls now. Texas goes zone.
Skip pass, leaves him open, 3-pointer. It's there from Chalmers.
Well, we mentioned he picks his spots, and they usually come in big situations. This would be a big situation to take over.
James with the left hand, not there, gets his own rebound, goes back to Durant, and Augustine puts it on the floor, not there, and the tip back by James.
What an effort by Damian James, Rick Barnes' blue-collar guy.
And Arthur is down at the other end of the floor.
This was some drive by DJ Augustine. The shot fake lifted the defender. That's how hard Augustine, you can basically throw caution out the window here. A lot of contact. Augustine warded off. Arthur came hard. So no worries about Augustine staying aggressive.
Russell Robinson on the spin move with a whistle and a foul inside. I think Scott Thornley says that it was Durant who picked up the foul.
Well, Kahn first, now Arthur. And that's got to be something there now. That's got to be a foul somewhere.
James just picked up his second foul. They called it on him.
Key now, we mentioned yesterday, officials need to be very consistent and blow that whistle often early so that there's a good rhythm to this ball game in the second half.
37-43, make it 43-38 as Robinson gets that one. Durant taking it strong, and a foul called against KU's right.
At first glance, it looked like Wright was in guarding position. He can be moving now. See, that's a bad call. You are allowed to be moving sideways and obliquely. That means heading backwards. He was in legal guarding position. Texas caught a break.
Third foul on Wright. Abrams, quick two-pointer, knocks it down.
He has got such a great release.
He's got 9 points. Robinson at the other end, unlucky on the shot. Kevin Durant comes down with the rebound. And Texas will push it. The double on Augustine, but he got out of the trap quickly.
See, Rush is guarding him to open his second half, Ron. And Wright is guarding Winder.
Durant. Offensive foul, and Robinson stepped in front of him. That's the first one on Durant. And Rick Barnes just saying, you know, could have been a reversal.
Yes. Yeah, see, that was a block. He was not established. So I guess tit for tat, everything
That's
evens
exactly
out.
Right.
Yep.
When you say, hey, they all balance out. Look at Durant, 22 points, 8 of 14, 7 rebounds.
Well, yesterday he only got 11 touches in the second half. 27 possessions, he was in the game.
He just caused a turnover right there. And Abrams strong to the hoop.
Kevin Durant's length and size is going to make him in time as good a defender. Maybe not as good as he is offensively, Ron, but he is a great defensive rebounder with great anticipation.
Third foul on Chalmers. And very quickly, Russell Robinson is coming off the bench. Two guys right now for KU that have 3 fouls. People that Bill Self wants on the floor for the remainder of this ball game, but that's Wright and Chalmers.
Once again, that ball doesn't hit the rim. He missed a free throw, A.J. Abrams, against Villanova in mid-January, and he missed another one late in the season at Oklahoma, but he's not missed since the end of December from the foul line. It's not hitting the rim.
So 47-38 Texas, 16:50 left to play in our ball game. Will Kansas defend their title, or will Texas wrestle it away from them? In to the right, with the spinning layup is Collins. A beautiful move in the trees, and he gets it to go.
How many times have we seen Kansas bogged down this season where Collins' penetration was a key?
Kevin Durant put up an air ball. Here's Wright on the run. Winder trying to take it away. Rush for three, not there. And James comes away with a rebound for Texas. And he will jam it. Nope, actually finger roll.
That was a heck of a play, because if he tried to jam it, I think Rush would have had the angle to get it. He went under Rush's hand. That was a good, smart play.
He also just pointed at himself. He wants some relief. Ball almost stolen by Winder. They get it back to Collins. He has the ball partially blocked, and on the follow, they score.
Well, James blocked that shot. Kansas picking up the loose change. This pace, it'll be interesting to see who it favors, Ron. Both teams average in the 80s.
Augustine a three, not there. Wright rebounds, but the ball is thrown away to Durant, and he will take it to the hoop, and was fouled on the way. It better not be against Wright. That would be 4. It's going to be on Jackson.
Sharon Collins with his dribble penetration becomes their instant offense. And then watch Damian James. This is a nipsy, dipsy-do. Kansas trails by 7.
So we're back in Oklahoma City. First time that this tournament has ever been staged in the state of Oklahoma. Texas and Kansas tied up in a good one. Texas leading by 7, early going second half. Join ESPN later today for 3 shows dedicated to the men's NCAA field of 65. First, ESPNU bracketology at 5 Eastern, then at 6 Eastern. SportsCenter breaks down the tournament brackets, and at 7 o'clock, bracketology experts analyze the field. Who's in? Who's out? Is there a Cinderella in the group this time? Join us on ESPN. We'll let you know. Well, he's on the threshold of a record. And the Big 12 championships.
You mean another record?
Another record, yeah. There's his mom in the white T-shirt on the right-hand side of your screen.
Let's see how Kansas attacks now. They're going to run a lot of pick and roll versus this man-to-man.
Rush really flat on that shot, but he got the follow. Missed the goal, but he missed it because he was fouled. All right, we talk about bracketology, and where do you have the guys in the Big 12? How many teams for starters?
So I think 5 will get in, Ron, and these 2 teams will get in because of the strength of the top of the league. Kansas at 29-4. I think they're a #1 seed regardless of what happens today. This is a team that's played very good basketball. A&M, they're hovering between a 2 and a 3. I'll give them a 3. I think Texas has made the biggest jump this month. Don't be surprised if they're a 4 seed, but what really helps Texas Tech and Kansas State has been the strength of this league at the top. And we've been conservative in our process of saying how good this league is, but it's been very underrated.
Ball is going to head back the other direction. It'll go to KU. 7th turnover against the Longhorns. Ron Franklin, along with Holly Rowe and Fran Frischella, coming to you from the Ford Center in Oklahoma City. It's the Phillips 66 Big 12 Basketball Championship. Robinson, the bounce and the right, and Ashley just let him go by.
Well, he had no choice, Ron, because he's not quick enough. When you get a big guy as agile as Wright involved in the pick and roll, it's very hard for Ashley to be able to make a play on him. This is why Kansas is so good at pick and roll basketball, because of the mobility of Julian Wright. Now watch this. As he comes to the basket, there's no way Ashley's going to be able to stay in front of him. That's why Wright is at his best attacking the basket.
So the ball turned over, the 8th turnover against the Longhorns. Called against DJ Augustine on the run. The ball goes down to make it 51-47 for Rush on a great move toward the hoop. At the other end, James with a turnaround. Ball is tipped in the air, comes back to midcourt, and Augustine will have it. Abrams off the mark.
Yep, this happened yesterday. They stopped getting Durant the basketball in the second half. They counted the basket, Ron. Watch this.
I'm not sure about this one
Let's
here.
take a look at it.
No, it's coming down.
Yeah, it was coming down.
Yep.
A tough call. Scott Thornley got it right. We get the benefit of replay.
51-49. KU can tie it or take the lead on this trip right here.
Remember yesterday in the second half, only 11 touches for Durant.
Actually, will jam it home.
And why? DJ Augustine's penetration.
Collins over to Russell Robinson. Got it inside. Wright had to give it up because he had a hand right in his face from Damian James, and that's the 9th turnover against Kansas. You know what's beginning to happen? Rick Barnes has really become very silent on the sidelines, particularly this season. And I think sometimes maybe some other coaches might agree. Rick is almost too passive, and right now he's up on the officials. And, you know, sometimes you got to roar.
I think sometimes coaches are really good at getting on the officials without the crowd knowing it.
The foul on Rush.
So you don't have to worry about Rick Barnes being passive in a championship game.
Second time that Texas has had a huge lead on Kansas, and it has disintegrated. They're going to call that foul on, you sure? Right. That's his 4th foul.
That's a big foul.
I thought it was Rush who was closest to him on.
Now remember this at Lawrence 8 days ago. Kevin Durant sprained his ankle, missed about 4 or 5 minutes of action early in that second half, and really never was the same down the stretch of that game. In fact, it was Abrams and Augustine that kept Texas in that ball game.
So Wright goes to the bench. He's got 14 points. Second free throw on the way for Durant, and he's got it, and it makes it 55-49.
See, this is a smart move, and the coaching staff told me this before the game. They feel better about playing zone without Julian Wright in the middle of it because how good a passer he is.
Collins for 3. Yes.
But you better cover the shooters.
(55-52) Texas.
Rush has done a nice job on Durant.
On the run, partially lost control of it. The shot, he was fouled on the floor. Shot will not count. And let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, you're talking about possible fatigue for Texas earlier, and you know, one thing to keep in mind, Texas was in a dogfight with Baylor 2 days ago, and during that game, they had some full court pressure defense they were playing. Kevin went over to Rick Barnes and said, if you want me to keep playing this full court pressure, I'm not going to be able to finish the game. So that was 2 days ago in a tough game. They played yesterday and now a tough game today, guys. How are their legs feeling now?
Well, you know, Holly, it's a championship game, and whether they feel very good in the legs or not, I think you're going to say we could rest tomorrow. Abrams in and out. And here comes Collins. He's going to force the issue. He always will do that as the ball is knocked out of bounds by Abrams.
And Ron, you and I have talked about this many times. Forget today. How about the fatigue of playing on a Sunday championship game and possibly having to play Thursday somewhere?
Exactly.
So that's always the undercurrent when you have a Sunday championship and you expend that kind of energy over 3 games.
Rush for 3. Too strong. The battle for it, and the foul is going to go against Jackson of KU. So there's a timeout on the floor. 11:54 left in our ball game. Texas by 3, 55-52. Our situation, Texas by 3. And as Durant breaks the huddle, you see 22 points in the first half, 4 in the second half. And Holly Rowe, let's check in with you. You had an ear in the huddle.
Well, guys, it's clear that right now Kevin Durant is tired. In fact, his coach, Rick Barnes, has noticed this. And in the huddle right now in the timeout, he just said to him, hey, Kevin, let's have you slow down on offense right now. He drew up some plays. He's looking for more penetration from A.J. Abrams. They're going to give Durant a blow right here.
We've seen take over games, Ron. He had 31 against Iowa State.
Augustine with a bounce pass stolen by Chalmers.
Chalmers was very aware of that baseline drive and drift.
Collins with the huge screen from Kahn. Couldn't get around him, but his biggest thing was shooting over Kahn.
That's right. And Kahn is back. Off his back.
1-point ball game. Texas 55-54. Durant falling away, short on the shot. Tipped up by James, not there. And here comes KU. Collins again. Ball is blocked by Durant. And it'll go back to Texas.
An incredible play. What a block shot. Watch this, Ron. He gets poked right in the eye by Julian Wright inadvertently. And you see him hold it. But don't discount the great job Rush has done on Durant.
Durant, jumper, got it.
Seems like he doesn't have problems with size. That time elevating over the 6'11" Kahn.
28 points for Durant. 3-point Texas lead. About to go under 10 minutes to play in our championship game. Same two teams met last year in Dallas, and it was KU winning as Jackson put up a ball that barely drew iron.
You see how ineffective Jackson is compared to Wright in the middle of that zone. Jackson's a banger.
And in case you joined us late, the reason Wright is not in the ball game is because of 4 fouls. Kevin Durant too hard off the back iron. It's Rush who rebounds.
And Rush has done a very good job. His quickness has bothered Durant.
Timeout called by Bill Self. And Rush is now limping after he slipped on some perspiration. We'll check on that. 3-point lead Longhorns. We'll be right back. We are back at an exciting championship game. Texas leading by 3 over KU. And take us inside the play, friend.
Well, it's the little things that are done by guys like Atchley and Winder. Watch this cross screen by Atchley now. He's going to set a nice legal screen right there. That gets the body on Rush. That means Kahn has to switch. Now, even though Kahn has length, big guys haven't bothered Durant's shot, Ron, as much as the quickness of Brandon Rush. So good execution by Connor Atchley. That will not show up in the box score.
First field goal for Durant in the second half. In fact, you got to go all the way back almost 6 minutes into the first half. The last time that he had a field goal.
Texas stays in that zone. Collins and Rush are the sharpshooters. So is Chalmers.
Chalmers dishes it off. Jackson lost the handle, and then he was fouled. See how the women's NCAA brackets line up on ESPN and ESPNU tomorrow night with NCAA Women's Selection Special. First at 8 Eastern on ESPN. The 64-team field is revealed. 9 o'clock, ESPNU. The field will be reviewed bracket by bracket. Who's in, who's out, who will be Cinderella this year. The NCAA Women's Selection Special on ESPN and ESPNU.
Middle Tennessee State, Ron. Remember how much we enjoyed watching Chrissy Givens last year.
Third foul on Damian James for the Longhorns. Jackson swishes that one. 1-point ball game. 57-56, Texas. And this partisan house of KU backers on their feet in Oklahoma City. Durant gives it back to his teammate. James to Winder.
See, they're face guarding Augustine right now. They're not letting him get the ball back. That's good.
Winder on the floor, takes it strong to the hoop, and he was fouled.
Craig Winder looked at the shot clock. It showed about 8. Augustine was denied. Durant was on the other side of the floor. He put his head down, and he continues to earn that scholarship with his performance in this tournament.
Jackson just picked up his third foul.
On this club.
Holly Rowe, let's check with you quickly.
Well, guys, Rick Barnes brought Craig Winder to the press conference 2 days ago and said, guys, if we didn't have him, we wouldn't have won these games. He actually said his reckless abandon he's playing with on the floor is giving energy to everyone. Last year, Barnes called him the best teammate in the locker room. He supports these guys and sets a great example, and he's been the difference for them in this tournament.
Thanks, Holly. He really has been an energy guy. You're exactly right. Collins looks for Chalmers. Now here's Rush. Ball is blocked by Ashley, but taken down by Jackson. And Jackson just picked up an offensive foul on that one, and that will be foul number 4 on him.
The reason that's critical is because Wright has 4. He's sitting on the bench. Watch him run over Damian James, who continues to be Rick Barnes' anchor defensively. And Arthur Ron.
I'm not sure he's 100% yet. Are you? They're getting him up right now, but I tell you, he gets up very gingerly.
And he goes right back down.
Sits
so
right. You're right.
Can't go.
Under 9 minutes to play. James, the Durant.
They denied Durant. They thought he was going to pop out, so he just smartly back cut.
30 points for Kevin Durant. Rush in the corner. He got it. Rush having a big one. 17 points for him.
And he had to shoot it with a little more arc because of Durant.
Durant pulls up for the 3. It's short. Jackson with a rebound.
He's not able to escape off the dribble, so he had to take a tough shot.
Inside to Jackson. Ashley on him. The ball not actually blocked. He couldn't get a full handle on it. Kahn with the ball. Throws it back to Jackson. And Chalmers is fouled on the way to the hoop.
Sasha Kahn got on the floor. He's been banged up over 2 days. And he made the play, which got them a chance to take this lead.
Fran, this is kind of like a heavyweight bout. These fouls are tough and hard. 1-point lead, Texas. So we are back at Oklahoma City. The championship game of the Big 12. Durant with 30, Rush with 17. It's a 1-point Texas lead. 7:51 showing on the clock. And in just a moment, we're also going to give you a graphic on the foul trouble because both teams beginning to get very close with still a lot of playing time at the 7:51 mark.
Foul trouble and fatigue, playing 3 games in 3 days. You don't see the sharpness you might see during the season. Championship games traditionally are wars of attrition.
Wright and Jackson with 4 apiece. 3 for Chalmers, 3 for James, 2 for Winder and Augustine.
Speaking of championship games, credit goes out to Sidney Lowe and NC State. Talk about war of attrition, playing 4 games in 4 days. And a great effort against North Carolina today.
Well, I'll tell you, I looked up there and it was double figures up to about 16 points. And NC State just kept on coming. Sidney had that red jacket glowing.
He had it going. And
I said glowing.
Glowing.
Wright still on the bench. Arthur still on the bench. Wright with 4 fouls and Arthur with an injury. And Fran, the question is, when do you bring them back?
You try to milk this to get it under 5 minutes.
This is the first lead by KU since they led it 4-2 back in the first half.
Well, Brandon Rush has really made Kevin Durant work for good shots in the second half.
Durant on the run, puts on the brakes. Chalmers almost takes it away from him.
You got the double whammy, Ron, of Rush on Durant, and then Chalmers' quickness with his hands.
Shot clock at 13. The pass, Durant was going the other direction. They battled for it. It was thrown back to KU. On the wing, Rush, spark 3, missed it. But Collins is there to pick it up off the floor, and a foul is called on Texas. That's going to be on Winder.
Brandon Rush once again on the defensive end, made it tough to catch. He knocked it loose.
3 on Winder now. Boy, Durant had started in, and the pass came very high and out.
Well, even the Condor couldn't catch that one, Ron. That was a little bit over his head.
Collins makes it a 2-point KU lead.
Brandon Rush, Ron, who came to Kansas with a reputation of maybe being a selfish player. You don't know how that got started, but he's been anything but that in his career. Passive offensively to a fault, but what a defensive player and what an all-around player he's become for Bill Self.
You remember 2 straight games, he changed what could have been game-winning shots. Iowa State in overtime, Missouri at home, and I asked him after those 2 ball games, which did he rather have, high score or the big defensive play? And he said the big defensive plays. Certainly.
Yep, says a lot about him.
3-pointer, Abrams can't get it. Rush on the rebound. Right now, Rush is taking this ball game over for the Jayhawks.
Both of his brothers were prolific scorers in high school and college. Many people thought he'd be the same, but he's a very good all-around player.
Collins, little too hard, brought down by James. Kansas by 3.
As long as Rush is doing a good job on Durant, let's watch Augustine try to take over on the offensive
Got
end.
a mismatch here. Rush got in the switch. Durant being guarded by Collins.
Great defense by Rush.
10 seconds on the shot clock. James started to drive, did not. 5 seconds, down to 4. Lost the ball, out of control, and Texas loses the possession just by not being organized that time.
And Brandon Rush switched on to Augustine. Augustine could not do anything with him.
Chalmers on the run. Offensive foul is called.
How about Augustine not getting it done on the offensive end, but stuck his body in there.
4 fouls on Chalmers.
Very close bang-bang play. I think he got it right.
So the 9th team foul against the Jayhawks. And of course, Texas has committed 7. So both with a 1-and-1, one more, and it'll be the double bonus for Texas.
Augustine, 82% shooter, Ron, but a little bit of fatigue.
Wright prepares to check back into the lineup for the Kansas Jayhawks. Jackson will go to the bench, and a good hand for him. We mentioned he is coming back home to play this tournament from the Oklahoma City area.
One of those guys, when you have a team of All-Americans, that really does the behind-the-scenes work.
Augustine, one of a couple of Longhorns that you don't want to foul, whether it's early or late in the half. Swished them both. Chalmers goes to the bench with the 4 fouls.
Kansas late in games, they get away from the post-up game and they go more to the dribble drive game.
Rush couldn't get the shot to go. He was fouled. And that's Abrams who will pick up the foul. And it's the first one on him. But it is the 8th team foul against Texas.
Remember, Ron, this guy was first team All Big 12 as a freshman.
Got them both. 5-point Kansas lead. We have just gone under 6 minutes to play in our championship game.
Well, Brandon Rush said in the paper he wanted the challenge of guarding Kevin Durant.
Durant takes it by, the ball partially blocked, got his own follow, missed, and then James will score it.
How about guys like James and Darnell Jackson, Ashley, Winder? They've been big in this game. See, they're going to try to utilize some pick and roll.
Rush, the screen out high from Kahn, uses his body, off balance with the shot, blocked inside by Durant, And a foul is called on KU.
And Winder came up with another rebound. Penetration was good. James continues to challenge shots. How about Durant with the block and then Winder picking it up?
Russell Robinson was called for the foul. He's second. Now, there are some tired players on that floor right now, but nobody is going to say that they don't have enough energy for 5 minutes and 8 seconds to give it their all, because that's how much time is left in this year's championship game.
Hey, the way this league has gone this season, Ron, tighten your seatbelt. We may have a couple more overtimes.
67-65 Kansas.
We don't have to catch a plane for a while. That's the good news. I'll watch a little more hoops.
Right. Not there. Kahn gathers the rebound and gets it back to Rush.
Kansas staying in that 2-3 zone. And now Wright's back in.
Collins says, I'll take it if nobody will pick me up. Used the rim, reversed it, and scored. What an effort. 18 points by Collins.
Small guys know how to use them because that's how they're able to get the shot off against shot blockers.
Here's the trap on Augustine, and the jump ball is called. Possession error says it'll stay with Texas.
Watch this, Ron. We've seen good players do this all season. Collins gets by the basket. He uses the rim to protect his shot from James, who is laying for the block. Keep your eye on this. Great move.
30-second timeout is called. 4:18 left to go in the ball game. With that Collins hoop, it is a 4-point Kansas lead. Well, Texas against Kansas, March the 12th, 2006. This was in Dallas at the American Airlines Center.
This was a young basketball team at the time last year. Chalmers, Rush, Julian Wright. They had come off a whooping in Austin and turned the tables in Dallas just a couple weeks later.
Won it by 12 after losing by, 20 points down in Austin. You see the scoring by halves. Texas led it by 5 at halftime, and KU was outscored the Longhorns by 9 points here in the second half. Texas against Kansas for the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship from the Ford Center in Oklahoma City. Ron Franklin, Fran Fraschilla, and Holly Rowe, glad to have you along. 4 minutes and 18 seconds left in this one. And it is far from over.
Let's see how Rick Barnes can get Kevin Durant the ball. Or does DJ Augustine be the go-to guy? There's the switch again.
James, Kahn got the block, he got the follow, and Collins will pick up the foul.
Great look by Augustine and a really good block shot by Sasha Kahn.
Showed the double bonus in effect. Collins with his second foul. James, first one on the way, and he got it.
The reason that's so important, James only shoots 61%. Take away Durant, Abrams, and Augustine. This is a mediocre foul shooting club.
Second one way too hard. Rush comes away with it. So it's a 3-point margin, Kansas.
Ron, you remember Collins did not score in 52 minutes in the last 2 games of the regular season.
Did get 8 points in his last outing against K-State. Chalmers dishes it off. Rush in the corner. In and out. Not there. And Durant is called for a push. So let's take a timeout. Kansas 69, Texas 66, as Collins, a freshman for KU, is taking it away. Our situation, 3-point lead, Kansas with 3:38 left in the ball game. And Rush, what an afternoon. 18 points for him, and he had 5 at halftime, 13 in the second half.
An incredible defense on Kevin Durant in the second half as well.
Second one on the way, and Wright got that one as well.
Rush stays on Durant.
Largest lead of the afternoon by Kansas, 71-66.
See, Wright gets to guard Winder, which means he can be the center fielder on defense. Winder not really an offensive threat. See, he's double teaming Durant from Winder.
Augustine not there. The ball tipped up by Durant, and he gets the follow.
Ron, that play was frozen in time. He was able to catch that ball in the air, and he just softly knocked it in.
Collins strong to the hoop. Ball got tipped. Came down into the hands of Durant, who, by the way, with the 9 rebounds, has set a new Texas single-season rebounding record. One held by LaSalle Thompson, 1980 and 1981.
Not a bad rebounder himself out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Remember how important Augustine is to this offense.
Durant goes against Rush again. Gets him to jump, hits the jumper, and a chance for a 3-point play.
Sasha Khan did not stay with the principle of verticality. Came down on Durant's hand. But watch this play, Ron. He's almost frozen in time as he catches this ball.
And with the long arms, Durant does not go over the back.
Then the blocked shot. His defense, we've said it all year because we've seen him. Watch Khan just come right down on his hand, and Durant with the concentration to make the shot.
That's the second tie of the ball game.
I laugh at people who haven't seen Kevin Durant say he's not a good defensive player.
34 points for Durant, stolen by Abrams, and Chalmers can't do anything with it. But followed by Winder. Chalmers playing with 4 fouls.
And you almost wonder if Abrams missed the shot on purpose because he knew Winder was coming. Now, he got hit pretty hard, but watch the steal, jump the passing lane. And I think he just lost it, but there's Winder, the guy that continues to earn the meal money, the scholarship, the room and board, and some free sneakers as well.
So Texas goes back on top by 2. The Longhorns huddle right, left of midcourt. 73-71 right now, 2:14 left to play.
Russell Springman, one of Rick Barnes' assistants from the Maryland area, recruited Winder 2 years ago out of a junior college, Cecil Community College. Hadn't played much, but he's been brilliant in this tournament, the only senior for Rick Barnes.
Chalmers, pass too hard. Can he hold on? Jackson saves it. It hit the rim. Chalmers gets it, and there's a possibility of a 3-point play. How about that?
That's what you call luck, good or bad. That time it went with Kansas.
You think?
Oh, scramble.
Watch this ball. It hits the rim. I mean, that thing was headed up. Bill Self would have been the closest guy to catch it. And Chalmers is right there to score.
Damian James has just picked up his 4th foul for Texas.
We said at the top of this broadcast, he picks his spots.
Chalmers completes the 3-point play. So KU goes back on top by 1.
Here we go again.
Durant misses the shot, fouled by Rush.
That was a very smart play by Kevin Durant. He knew that Julian Wright, if he came to the middle, would provide double team help. So he turned away from the pressure on the baseline and picked up the foul.
By the way, we've just been handed a note that the 35 points for Durant is the highest scored in tournament history. Marcus Fizer is at 38. So it's the second highest total, 35 points. Fizer, number 1 at 38. And Durant rattles that one home.
Now the question all season for Kansas is, who is your go-to guy? Right now, they have 4 of them on the floor, including the freshman.
Collins pulls up with the jumper. Not there. Ball tipped over to Durant. Taken away by Wright. And now Augustine has it.
Augustine needs to settle here.
Going to take it right around. Give it up to James. And Rick Barnes is saying, hey, let's run a play.
Same play. They're going to cross screen.
Abrams for 3. Got it.
Chalmers gambled and came up empty. And A.J. Abrams, the veteran, only a sophomore, made him pay. You see Chalmers overrun the ball. Abrams looks back, and you don't give this guy that much room. One of the best and underrated shooters in the country.
Abrams with 14 points. So the reset, Texas leads it by 4. Timeouts, Longhorns have 3, Kansas 1. Both double bonus possession error would go to the Jayhawks.
And late in the year, Ron, Bill Self has utilized Sharon Collins to penetrate and kick and make a play for some of his talented teammates.
Coming up next on ESPN, ESPNU Bracketology presented by Staples. Well, you know, Collins today looks more like the young man we saw through the late part of January and into February, where he was simply unstoppable and just continued to force action, causing teams to wind up in positions they didn't want to be in.
That's exactly right, Ron. He's the one player they have that is what we call a breakdown player. You have to guard him with 2 defenders to keep him out of the lane.
Under a minute to play. Chalmers spins. Abrams on him. Shot is off the mark. Wright tries to save it, but it was touched last by Texas. That's Damian James who's down there.
He had a piece of that basketball. That would have been a heck of a rebound.
21 seconds on the shot clock for the Jayhawks.
These teams will watch the selection show here in Oklahoma City, head back tonight, and if one of them plays on Thursday, that is a quick turnaround.
Chalmers to inbound it, and Durant is guarding him on the baseline. Gonna have to lob it, and he gets it to Wright. Now Collins looks up at the scoreboard. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Puts up a 12-footer, knocks it down. Bill Self calls a timeout. 2-point Texas lead. 40.1 seconds remaining.
He loves having the ball in his hands. He's grown into that role. He hasn't had to be the go-to player. Fellow freshman DJ Augustine has been for Rick Barnes, but down the stretch of the season, Ron, as you said, Bill Self has enormous confidence in the young man from Crane High School in Chicago.
Well, all year long, we have talked about the Big 12 and how many great games have we been able to see. And I mean, it has gone with matchups from the north, the south, against each other. This championship game, to me, just really speaks volumes as to how well this conference has played this year.
I totally agree, Ron. 6 teams with over 20 wins. And if you like what Kansas and Texas A&M have done all season, then you have to like what Texas, Texas Tech, and Kansas State have done. This has been an underrated conference. We haven't blown its horn very much when everybody says what the best conference in the country is, but they played great basketball this year in this league.
Kevin Durant in the second half, he had 22 at halftime and struggled, but he now has 25 points, or 15 points, I should say, in the second half of play.
Yeah, he's struggling. You still have 37, and he has been really guarded well by Julian Wright and Brandon Rush. But an unbelievable performance.
There, and you see he gets a putback. gets the rebound and in the putback.
With
So a double-double again today.
Ron, with 40 seconds on the clock, you really can't afford, if you're Bill Self, to let Texas run the clock down. They're going to press and they're going to foul. Now here's the dilemma. You've got three great foul shooters in Augustine, Durant, and Abrams. If James or Winder could catch this ball, it would be a great break for Bill Self.
Here comes the play, and it comes into James. They bounce it right back to Augustine, and now to Durant.
See, they're trying to figure out who to foul. They didn't get it.
And they don't want to foul this guy. Durant. Plenty of time on the shot clock.
And Rick Barnes looked at Kevin Durant and said exactly what we were talking about. Not Craig. There's the numbers, but remember this. Winder came in today, Ron, 11 of 13. You say, why not? Why foul him? Because he hasn't shot a lot of free throws this year.
2 of 4 today, and you're right, hasn't played that much, so he hasn't had the opportunity. First one on the way, and he missed it. But that's interesting that we would read his lips at the same time. Not Craig. It is not that you're anti-Winder. You know that Kansas will have all 5 people foul him.
Exactly. You need to play the percentages.
Winder, second one on the way, and he got that one. 3-point lead. Texas calls a timeout. So KU with 21.7 seconds on the clock. That's what we have left in regulation. Tell me what Bill Self is talking about. Take us to the chalkboard.
This has been their bread and butter all year in late games, particularly as Collins has stepped up big. He has the ball here, a screener here, a postman here, shooters in the corners. If you could come off the screen and get to the rim and get a quick 2, great. But if the defense collapses, kick it out for the open 3. They don't necessarily need a 3, Ron, but they'll take a 3 if it comes within the flow of the offense.
Both teams, double bonus. Timeout's not really a factor right now, although KU has just... No, that was Texas who took the timeout, so Texas still has a couple left. But they lead it by 3 points, 79-76, and 21.7 seconds on the clock. And Ashley comes into the lineup to give him a little bit more height. Darnell Jackson is into the ball game for KU.
Interesting here, Texas is showing zone, but let's see if they switch the man and they...
Collins
stayed zone.
Chalmers far 3. Got it. Augustine. And Texas calls a timeout with 13.8 seconds left.
A little surprise. Texas went zone. Kansas set a ball screen which freed Chalmers. Watch this now. They settle back into the zone. There's the switch and then the screen. And Abrams is late. Chalmers, of course. Johnny on the spot. Can't draw it up any better than that if you're Bill Self. A little surprise that Texas went zone.
Now, let's talk about what Rick Barnes might be planning over there in the huddle. Is it an automatic? You go to 35?
Not necessarily, Ron, because if you think back to the LSU game when DJ Augustine had 25 points, LSU made it very tough for Durant to get the ball, and Augustine's penetration was really what won that game. So Rick Barnes has a couple of options. It's harder to defend a man with the ball than a man who doesn't have it. So Augustine might wind up being the guy that makes this play.
Chalmers, the MVP of last year's game. He just hit the 3 that tied it. Will he be this year? Clock is down. They go to Durant. Spins around. The jump shot. Too hard. Taken away by Rush. And the shot no good. The first overtime in Big 12 championship game history.
They went with their bread and butter cross screen for Durant, where he catches it away from the basket. It's a post up from 15 feet. You see, he turns away from right, gets a good look, and that's all you can ask.
So, of all the great games that we have had this year, it's like another day at the office in the Big 12 Conference. You know what? Talk about strategy in overtime. Both teams are fatigued, but KU has a lot more depth than does Texas.
They do. Survival now. It's 5 minutes, really. You dance with who brung you, Ron, as they say in this part of the country. Obviously, Durant and Augustine, A.J. Abrams for Texas, and then same thing, Bill Self has a number of offensive weapons as well. But Brandon Rush has really made Durant work for his baskets in the second half.
Well, this is going to be the 5th overtime game for Texas this year. They are 2-2. KU is 2-0. And in fact, the first time we saw KU this year was on the road at Ames, Iowa, and the Cyclones took them to overtime, and it was Rush who took that one over offensively and defensively, and that's how they got the win.
Absolutely right. And how about this? This is still two of the youngest teams in the country.
So it'll be Kahn jumping it up against Durant. 5 minutes on the clock and tied at 79 at the end of regulation. We go to overtime.
Texas ball. Justin Mason, Ron, must be really aggravated with the ankle and knee injuries because of Winder getting all these minutes.
Winder over to Abrams.
See, I think Augustine can break this defense down.
Augustine dishes it off to James, and he missed the easy layup. He'll have an opportunity for 2 shots.
You're not going to forget Kevin Durant, but it's much easier against a set defense for a man with the ball to break you down than to try to get it to Durant, who's being defended the way he is by Rush.
You know, when you go back to the end of regulation, it shows how well coached KU was. They had an opportunity as that first free throw is missed. They had an opportunity to foul Augustine, but they didn't want to. They certainly didn't want to foul Abrams. And the minute, I mean the minute, that Winder touched the basketball, they were all over him. He only made one, the difference in the ballgame.
It's a great point.
Missed them both.
Remember, Kansas is not a particularly good free throw shooting team as well. Then you factor in fatigue.
Collins along the baseline, back to Kahn. Chalmers. Right is open just to the left of the free throw line. And
that's his range, Julian Wright. 15 feet and in.
18 points for Wright. And I would remind you, played the late stages of regulation and now overtime with 4 fouls. Durant, the turnaround, that's way too hard. Winder gets the rebound. 3-pointer on the way, and that one is short, but he was fouled. And that is 5 fouls, I believe, on Chalmers.
That is a great break for Rick Barnes. Chalmers, a clutch player for Bill Self.
And the man that he fouled is the guy that Fran has talked about all tournament long about being Mr. Automatic.
Has missed 2 free throws since December 28th.
So Chalmers, 17 points, MVP of last year's tournament. And, you know, he's still a hero in this one right here because he is the one who sent it to overtime with burying that 3-point shot.
But here's the great thing about Kansas. We've said this many times. There's no one go-to guy. They're still left with Wright, Collins, and Rush out there, as well as the glue guys, Robinson and Kahn.
I don't care who wins this game. This coaching staff for KU has got to feel even better about today's game for one reason. Number 4, Collins, all of a sudden has put the cape back on.
Yes, he has.
He's doing what he was doing prior to that, causing people a lot of headaches.
He missed.
Abrams missed.
Wow.
Second one, he got it.
Always wonder why you slap the shooting hand of a guy at the foul line. I don't get it.
Kick the foot of a kicker, would you?
Third one on the way.
Okay.
He got it. He made 2 of 3.
He's in a slump. Third miss since January 1st.
So still tied, 81 apiece. 3:44 left in our first overtime.
Texas switches back to man, which means we'll see pick and roll.
Rush a little too short, rebounded by James.
That's what we call a traffic rebound by Damian James, and he's got a lot of them in this tournament.
He's got 12 rebounds in this ball game today.
None of them easy, Ron, against this Kansas front line. Mismatch.
Durant couldn't get it. James gets it right back to Abrams, and James got hit in the ear.
It's another traffic rebound.
But he's standing next to a guy that has, I guarantee you, no worries for him on what Sasha's gone through the last couple of days. Abrams, quick release, that's short. Taken down by Collins of KU. Out on the wing, Russell Robinson. Rush just inside the three-point line. Can't get it. James with another rebound and lost it out of bounds.
You wonder why Rush wouldn't just shoot that shot. That's what Bill Self was telling him. Watch him hesitate, Ron. He had the open three, and then he took the ball into the defense. And there
Dribbled
you see.
it off his foot.
Yep. And you just wonder again how much fatigue plays a factor in an overtime game after 3 days of intense play.
This is Wright. Takes it to the hoop. It is blocked by Durant. You know, and what Bill Self was saying to Rush, 6 blocks by Durant, we're told, is he told him a couple of games ago, and that is, when you've got the ball, you're my man. I want you shooting. Don't worry about me admonishing you for that.
You hurt the team when you pass up open shots.
That's right.
If your role is to score. People think of a role player as a guy that doesn't shoot. No, you do what you do best.
Russell Robinson got it, rattled it home.
Now, Russell Robinson is not nearly the player of Brandon Rush, but his toughness is evident right there.
That's only his 3rd point of the ball game, but how huge was that one? As Abrams is able to bring that pass down that was very high.
Assistant coaches at Kansas have told us often Russell Robinson is good because he thinks he's good.
James right after him. Strong to the hoop. Ball in the air. Taken away by Russell Robinson. KU will push it up. They lead by 2. We're in the first overtime. Regulation ended at 79 apiece. Wright had a foul against Durant on the baseline. 3rd one on Kevin Durant.
Texas took a shot that previous possession. I don't think Kevin Durant touched it. I'm not sure Rick Barnes wanted Damian James going one-on-one.
So the crowd is just a bit of a murmur. There's no real cheer right now as Wright shoots it and misses the first one.
Only a 62% foul shooter, and Kansas has struggled over the last part of the season from the foul line, and that could bode poorly for them in the NCAA tournament.
Second one on the way, got that one. 3-point margin by the Kansas Jayhawks, the #1 seeds in this year's tournament.
I still like Augustine's dribble penetration, but there's the switch now. Kansas is switching all screens.
Augustine, Ashley gets the screen. Shot clock is about to hit 10. Augustine, the bouncer to Durant. Durant Augustine blocked by Rush, taken away by Collins.
The best shot blocking guard in the country. We've said it all year. You think back to early in the season, Ron, you mentioned that shot Matt Lawrence took from Missouri. What a job defensively Rush has done today.
Jackson comes out to screen at Augustine. Collins gets it to a teammate, to Robinson. 84-81 in overtime. Kansas on top. Points right here would be devastating to the University of Texas. Collins pulls up, not there. Ashley comes away with a rebound.
Brandon Rush, 6'6", doesn't mind defending. Watch the length here. He challenges the shot. Augustine thought he had space, but Rush comes up with the big play. Jayhawk bench has seen that before from Brandon Rush.
22.4 seconds left. And Kansas with a lead of 3 points. Let's take a look at highlights of Kevin Durant in this ball game today.
37 points, Ron, but he has had to earn every one of them. I guarantee you in the post-game press conference, they'll be talking about the great job Kansas has done on him, and he still managed to have a big game. Julian Wright, Brandon Rush, Sasha Khan, everybody's had a piece of this guy. He's a marked man, but he's still come up big and kept Texas in this championship game.
Well, listen to the resume on today's action. 37 points for him, 10 rebounds, 6 blocks, and 2 steals. And again, the point is made for people who think that he is only an offensive player. Those last 2 numbers, or last 3 I gave you, 10 rebounds, 6 blocks, and 2 steals, tells you that he is at work at both ends of the floor.
Big 12 player of the year. 12 freshman of the year, all Big 12 defense, and soon to be national player of the year.
It's the 3rd time that he has hit 37 points this year. Crowd coming to life. Just over 22 seconds left, and here come the Longhorns. Can they send it to a second overtime? Augustine, it is blocked by Jackson, and he was able to hold on to it, and he was fouled. 13.2 seconds left.
The incredible thing about this block is Darnell Jackson, rather than swatting it out of bounds as Texas goes for the quick 2, watch him block it softly to keep it in play, and he gets his own block shot. Now, if you remember a guy named Bill Russell from the Boston Celtics in the 60s, that was what he did. Instead of being a hero and knocking it out of bounds, he blocked it to himself.
4-point ball. Rick Barnes looks on. This is going to be a difficult situation unless he comes up with a miracle play. Down by 4 and now down by 5. Augustine rushes it up. Abrams for 3. Got it. Timeout called. And it's a 2-point ball game.
Great execution. This is why you practice special situations in practice. This was a ball screen with a dribble handoff. Watch Ashley, and then the handoff to create space for Abrams. That's great coaching right there. There's the screen, the handoff, and room for Abrams.
So 8.3 seconds. It's a 2-point ball game. Help me out on the play here, because I think I know what Bill Self wants to do. Obviously, you got to get it to your highest percentage free throw shooter to handle it.
You do, and remember this, Ron, against Baylor, Texas was down in the second half, and they utilized a full court press, something you don't see much from them. A diamond press. That's what they'll do here, and they'll try to steal it quickly, and if they don't steal it, they must foul quickly, and they can't worry about who Kansas's best shooters are right now. They don't have that luxury because of time.
Okay, so let's see what happens. 8.3 seconds. There's the horn, the first horn. And can the Longhorns, can they get a steal? Will they have to foul? And if they do, who would they foul? Brandon, it was interesting to note that the distance shot we had of KU on a couple of really important plays down here, particularly the block and the steal, Those kids are so tired or either hurt over there that nobody jumped to their feet. They got up very deliberately. Look at Kevin Durant's mom as she discusses the possibilities.
We're in the 16th round of a 15-round heavyweight fight. And it's been that way a number of times this year in this league.
Brandon Rush, what an outstanding ball game for him. 19 points. Right. How about the job he's done? 19 points for him and playing with 4 fouls. And how about Jackson, who has come back home to play and has really played an important part. Russell Robinson is going to be fouled with 5.3 seconds showing on the clock.
Now Robinson only 65%, 66 on the season. But young man from Rice High School in New York City, even before he arrived at Kansas, has played in some very big games. Rick Barnes, Ron, has no timeouts, so if there's a miss, they must push it up the floor.
Russell Robinson bends the knees on the way. He got it. Bill South calls a timeout.
No surprise, Russell Robinson, the glue to this team. He only averages 6 points a game. But when you grow up in Manhattan and you've played at the Rucker Park and the Kingdome and in the Catholic League in New York, you've got ice water in your veins.
Take a look at Brandon Rush and the job that he has done for the Jayhawks today.
Well, he's done it on both ends, Ron. We've seen this kind of play from him all year. Defensively, he's one of the more underrated defenders in the country. He's also a guy that can step up big for Bill Self and provide some offense. That's a big one over Durant late in the second half. This guy plays hard and doesn't get the credit. Some people think of him as a pretty boy. Far from that.
Here are his numbers today again. 19 points, 4 of those 3-pointers. 7, 3 blocks, and 2 assists. Texas has got 5.3 seconds to work with, and they trail by 4 points.
If you're Kansas, you just don't foul right here. And if they get to the 3-point line, don't go for head fakes.
Ashley with the baseball pass. Durant, a mile high. It hit the top. It is Kansas basketball with 2 seconds left.
And that was a smart play by Rick Barnes because he saved time by getting a shot down the floor.
Julian Wright. Game is over. Overtime. Kansas wins back-to-back Big 12 championships. Kevin Durant shaking hands across the way. 37 points for the young man. Bill Self, very happy young man himself. And let's go down to Holly Rowe, who was with that smiling Bill Self.
Well, Coach just said, what a game. I have to agree. You guys were down 22 in the first half. How did this team do it?
They're tough. They're tough, and you know, we missed a lot of bunnies earlier, but we came back and we had guys make tough plays. I thought Texas was fabulous. They got a great team, and of course Durant's off the charts, but we just hung in there. We played out of foul trouble. It's a great, tough win.
You told Brandon Rush a few days ago that your best players have to be the ones to step up. He did that today. How did he do it?
Well, he was just more aggressive. You know, he had a great game. He did a great job on Kevin, majority of the second half. And he had some open looks that he normally knocks down, but I thought everybody stepped up. I thought Sharon was great, Brandon was great. How about Mario's plays late? And Julian came in out of foul trouble and played well also.
Coach, bracket's just about to be released. What do you expect?
I think we're a 1 seed.
All right, well, congratulations on a Big 12 championship. We'll see you later.
Thanks a lot.
Holly, thanks so much. And again, congratulations to Bill Self and the Kansas Jayhawks as they win in overtime over Texas in the championship game, 88-84. Up next at ESPN, ESPNU Bracketology presented by Staples. For more on this game, tune into ESPN News for a post-game extra. I'm Ron Franklin for Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe and our entire ESPN crew. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Kansas in overtime beats Texas by 4. So long, everybody, from Oklahoma City.